The wide receiver room in New Orleans is very, very thin. So let's have a conversation. Who is available? Who's in free agency? Who is on a practice squad that the New Orleans Saints could poach? We're going to go through all of the options that the Saints could potentially address in the wide receiver position right here, right now. And then we're going to get into some questions from the Golden Gang. My name is Trizzy Trace Gerard. You're watching Saints Now, and let's have a good time. The wide receiver room in New Orleans, like I said, very, very thin. You could add Kevin Austin Jr. to the mix. You have Ronnie Bell on the practice squad. Jaquan Jackson was recently added to the practice squad. And we do know that Kellen Moore has said that they are always looking to add there. They're going to bring in some players for some tryouts throughout the week. So I do expect some more names to get added to the wide receiver depth chart. If anything does change, I'll make sure I let you guys know via the shorts tab. So the New Orleans Saints, in my opinion, need some wide receiver help. You agree? If yes, hit the thumbs up icon. If you don't agree, I'm going to ask politely that you get your eyes checked. That's just all I'm going to say. Now, let's talk about the free agents that are available right now for the New Orleans Saints. When it comes to the players that the Saints could sign, it's not a great list. It's not anything that is going to be very inspiring, but there's a handful of familiar faces here. There's always been the OBJ to New Orleans chatter. I don't know, but he can sign now. He's ready to roll. Robert Woods, Nelson Agholor, Tyler Boyd, Diontae Johnson. I'm going to be honest, keep your team away from Diontae Johnson. He is just not the guy that I think would be beneficial to add to New Orleans whatsoever. DJ Chark, familiar face. Donovan Peoples-Jones, he was with New Orleans for some time. Quez, we've seen him ball out for the black and gold before. And Zach Pascal, a player who has honestly been kind of all over the place over the last couple of years. Look, when it comes to the wide receiver position, obviously the Saints need some help. And you are at the position or the point of the season where you're at week 13. There's the guys that are free agents for a reason. Beggars can't be choosers. So if you want a wide receiver, you may not like the list. If you want to add somebody, that's your list. Unless you go and poach another player off the practice squad. That is something you could do. Sign a player from the practice squad to your active roster. That is something that the Saints, in my opinion, should explore and could explore if they wanted to add more players there. Now, I went through all of the practice squads on Our Lads. I went through each team to see which players I liked, which players I would sign, which players I'm interested in. And here's the list of the top 10 names that I would bring in. I'm not saying that this is a list of players that we need to do. I'm not saying this is a list of guys that are amazing. But look, Gabe Davis might bring something. I don't know. Keith Kirkwood, familiar face. MVS, Saints legend. Maybe you bring him in. Ray McCloud. He's been a player who's found success in this league before. Quez Watkins, Mike Woods, former Arkansas and Oklahoma legend, very high-level player coming out of high school. Kind of hasn't done a ton since he joined the NFL, but he was a player that does have some upside. A.T. Perry, Saints legend. Maybe you right your wrongs, bring him back. Brenden Rice. If I remember correctly, he worked out with the New Orleans Saints a handful of weeks ago. He is with Seattle right now. Again, I'm not saying the Saints need to go and sign any of these players, but if the Saints wanted to add one, maybe you explore this list as well. A.T. Perry, for what it's worth, I know a lot of people will say, oh, I like A.T. Perry. That's a good option. Had some health issues, hasn't really been able to get on the field. He had those elite moments with the New Orleans Saints a few years ago. It was rookie season. And then Dennis Allen moves off of him, and that sucked. A.T. Perry was really, really fun. I was a big fan of his. And I know there's a lot of people already in the comments that have already said, bring back Michael Thomas at the time of filming this video on our live show Monday, November 24th at 5 p.m. Central Time. It has been 743 days since Michael Thomas took a snap in the National Football League. His last game, November 12th in 2023. I love Michael Thomas too. I love him for what he did for this team. He will always be a legend in my book, but that bridge has been burned. That ship has sailed. And Michael Thomas will not be joining the New Orleans Saints anytime soon or ever again, in my opinion. Although it would be crazy, just isn't going to happen. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Name a wide receiver the Saints should add. If you think it's Michael Thomas, let me know. If you think it's A.T. Perry, sound off. If you think Gabe Davis, OBJ, Tyler Boyd, DJ Chark, any of those are intriguing names, let me know what you guys think in the comments. First things first, we're going to – I'm all over the place today. Sorry, fellas. Next, we're getting into the mailbag. live mailbag. We're live on the channel filming this video. The Golden Gang has questions. We have answers. Lopez is going to be joining me. We're going to have a two-way conversation. But first, we got to thank today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks, the best daily fantasy app out there. This episode of Saints Now by Chat Sports brought to you by Prize Picks. It's the holiday season. It's the best time of the year for sports. No questions asked. You got bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes, and it's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day on what gifts to buy and what to eat and which games you want to tune into, there is one place where it's always good to be right, and that is Prize Picks. My favorite thing about Prize Picks is picking multiple sports in the same lineup. And with basketball back, I can put Derek Queen and Chris Olave in the same lineup and root for both players to ball out for New Orleans. And we got a brand new feature on Prize Picks. Wee woo, wee woo. They now have early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. If you need some inspiration on how Prize Picks works, got a lineup for Turkey Day on Thanksgiving. A couple of fun matchups. I'm going to be tapped in, and hopefully I'm going to be cashing in as well. Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes taking the more over there. And then with Joe Burrow, I'm going to take the less on his passing yards against Baltimore. If you want to fade the picks, if you want to tail the picks, don't care what you do. Just make sure you do it with Prize Picks. And we got a sweet deal for you if you want to support the show as well as enhance your experience with Prize Picks. I encourage you to download the app, use promo code CLNS. You'll actually get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. It's a pretty sweet deal right there. Plug in that promo code CLNS. You'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Shout out to Prize Picks, where it's always good to be right. All the information is in the comments and description of this video. Alrighty, CTM. First one of the mailbag. Excuse me. We have a super chat, just a little birdie letting the Golden Gang know. Golden Gang, our group of subscribers, join the Golden Gang for free. Redshirt senior kicker from NC&T University that broke the school record with a 56-yard field goal. Name is Andrew Brown. Bro has a boot. I would assume CTM would be friends with this guy. We've actually had a handful of people suggest draft targets or dudes out of the roster. It's like, oh, this is my buddy I grew up with this guy, went to high school together, whatever. So there's a lot of those out there. When it comes to Andrew Brown, I have his stats pulled up from the NCAT Aggies website. In 2025, he's 15 of 18 along of 56 yards. He has an 83.3 field goal percentage and 2 blocked field goals. 3 over the course of his career. He is a 71.43 field goal percentage. He has made 40 of 56 attempts. So there is that. Also a punter. Also handles kickoffs and everything. So Andrew Brown, if you're watching, best of luck to you. Maybe you will be a Saint in the future. But when it comes to the kicker position, I definitely think that the Saints need to upgrade there. No disrespect to this player or to you, CTM, though. There are definitely options out there that the Saints should be considering, and I don't think that there's any bad ones out there, if you ask me. It's kind of one of those, no question is a dumb question. There's really no bad stone to turn over to look when it comes to a kicker. Jaden, what's going on, brother? Jersey and Lopez, do y'all still believe in Kellen Moore? That can't still be right man for Saints. He's asking about the Saints. What is happening here? What is going on? Is this in chit chat? Oh wow. Okay. There's no way. Okay. Sorry, we behind the scenes we just had some crazy stuff come through our Slack. Okay. Sorry guys, that's insane. We can't be having these happen during live shows, man. It's bad. Trizzy Lopez, do y'all still believe in Kellen Moore that he can still be the right guy for the Saints? I see you said that yesterday. Losing some faith. Do you still believe? I believe in him still. Look, Kellen Moore's a rookie. That's very true here. I also think when it comes to Kellen Moore and moving forward, he doesn't have a great roster. He doesn't have all of his pieces in place. I think that he needs to get a better special teams coordinator. I think when it comes to the offense as a whole, there definitely needs to be growth. However, it's his first year. Be a little patient. Give him some time. Let's upgrade the roster. Let's let him build this. Let's get out with the old, in with the new. Let him fully take over and see what happens. Like I'm not going to say I'm not calling him for his job this year. probably not going to be calling for him next year. I actually have a lot of faith in him. I think he's one of those guys that's an offensive genius. Give him a chance. Let him grow. Let him develop. Let him figure things out. Let him make some mistakes. And hopefully he learns from them. And hopefully in year 2, things are much better. But again, reminder, this roster is bad. So really doesn't help. All right, Lopez, it's your turn to answer the question if you're able to. Would you like to hop in and answer?
Yeah. I'm not even close to out on Kellen Moore yet. This is the big thing that we talked about coming into this year. This is not the Kellen Moore roster yet.
No.
You'll see that more next year. Maybe the year after that, when he can finally get that full roster that can run his offense, run his style of game. That's when it'd be like, okay, if we're still losing like this week in and week out, then there's a problem. But with what's going on right now, it's the definition of rebuild. The Saints are rebuilding.
Yeah.
Does it suck? Yes. Is it enjoyable to watch? No, by no means. It's not always fun to sit down every Sunday and watch the Saints get their ass kicked. Sometimes they do pull out a miracle and they win. And that's what makes the rebuild fun, is when you see that one win and you're like, okay, we're back.
When you start getting that rolling, you start.
Yeah, like we were talking about it. The last 2 weeks was all sunshine and rainbows.
Vibes were high.
And then yesterday happened.
And vibes
came crashing, burning down. But, you know, that's the point of a rebuild.
Yeah, it's you're still in the midst of it. Give it some time. But it's fair to say, Kellen Moore, be better. But we're not calling for his job. Not at least at this channel. Some channels might, not this one. And that's saying something because I was championing for Dennis Allen to get fired for over a year and a half here. What are the targets for offensive line? Mike Nintendo Masker, great question. For draft, obviously the New Orleans Saints are going to need to address a handful of positions. I think when it comes to the guard position, I would prefer to address that in the free agency side of things. But when it comes to offensive line, you can go Spencer Fanu, Francis Mauga, the tackle from Miami, Caden Proctor out of Alabama. Iowa has a nice tackle. There's a couple of them for Utah. When it comes to free agency, you also can go and sign some of these guys. Let me pull up a list here. I can find one. No, there's not one. There's not one built. I'm just going to read a list here. So from Spotrac, this is going to be 2026 offensive linemen available in free agency. So Braden Smith, Jonah Williams, Joel Bitonio, Wyatt Teller, Cam Robinson, Rob Havenstein, Kevin Zeitler, Isaac Sayamalu, Connor McGovern, Trey Pipkins, Jermaine Illuminor, Evan Neal, Josh Simpson, Ethan Pochik, Ted Cross, Laken Tomlinson, Ryan Bates, Kelvin Beachum, Josh Jones, Andrew Wiley, Elijah Vera Tucker, Robert Jones, Zion Johnson, Trevor Penning, oh my God, what if you brought back Trevor Penning? Tyler Linderbaum, Greg Van Roten, Austin Corbett, DJ Humphreys, Larry Borum, Spencer Burford, Liam Eichenberg, Will Hernandez, Dylan Radens. There's a long list. Ed Ingram, Trenton Brown, Andrus Peat. There you go. There's a bunch of offensive linemen that the Saints could sign. All right, the Nola Chop podcast. Is there a possible way that we can unload Caesar Ruiz this offseason? Let me take a look at Caesar Ruiz's contract. I really don't care what the answer is to this. I'm going to say yeah, they need to find a way. So according to Over the Cap, if the New Orleans Saints made him a pre-June 1 cut in 2026, there would be $16.8 million in dead money, and you would lose $3 million. But if you cut him post-June 1, so after the draft, $7.3 million in dead money, you save $6.8. If you trade him pre-June 1st, dead money of $14.1 million, you save $12,000. If you trade him post-June 1, $9.5 million in savings, $4.7 million in dead money. So for for Caesar Ruiz, yes, you can get off of him. Best things to do are either going to be cutting or trading him post-June 1. You save the most money trading him post-June 1. But Caesar Ruiz has not been good enough to stick around, in my personal opinion. He's under contract through 2027. He has void years in 2028 and 2029. Got to find a way to get off him. He's just not good enough. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to this mailbag and this rumors edition of Saints Now by Chat Sports. Talked wide receivers, answered some questions, and had a little bit of fun in the process. My name is Trizzy Trace Gerard for Loco Lopez. Y'all stay golden, and we'll see you next time.